Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something incredibly crucial for anyone in a high-pressure role. We're talking about personal resilience.
And, more importantly, how to prevent burnout.
Exactly. Because if you're a leader, a professional, really anyone who's driven, you know that pressure. It's always there to demand you keep going, even when you feel like you're running on fumes.
Mm-hmm.
And we pulled an uncomfortable truth from our sources right at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Your talent, your skill,
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough anymore, not for the long haul.
Right. The leaders who actually last, the ones who thrive, they're the ones who've mastered protecting their inner reserves before they're empty.
So our mission for this deep dive is pretty straightforward. We want to take resilience from this kind of vague idea of just muscling through.
Gritting your teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And turn it into a practical, renewable advantage. We're going to use the science behind it to show why self-care isn't optional. It's a core strategy.
And it has to be, because the cost of getting this wrong is it's staggering. We're not just talking about being tired.
Yeah.
We're talking about foggy decisions, fractured relationships with your team, your creativity just vanishing. You're actively putting your own impact at risk.
But the flip side.
The flip side is huge. It's clarity, it's career longevity, it's being sharp when it actually matters most. But the main takeaway is this. You build resilience in the daily rhythm of your life, not in the middle of a crisis.
Okay, let's start by defining the enemy here. We throw around the word burnout all the time, right?
Yeah.
Had a tough week, I'm so burned out.
Right.
But the sources draw a really sharp line between stress and actual clinical burnout. What's that fundamental difference?
It all comes down to engagement. Stress, and this might sound weird, is a state of over-engagement.
Okay.
You're frantic, you feel this urgency, this hyperactivity, you're still desperately trying to solve the problem. Stress screams, I have to do more.
And burnout?
Burnout is the opposite. It's disengagement. It's this silent emotional erosion. It brings this profound sense of helplessness.
Hopelessness.
Stress is, I have too much to do. And burnout is, why even bother? None of this matters. Yeah, stress exhausts you, but burnout just leaves you numb.
And clinically, that numbness, that disengagement, it breaks down into three really specific dimensions.
Absolutely. The first one is the most obvious, exhaustion.
And this isn't just, I need a good night's sleep.
No, not at all. It's a deep, pervasive fatigue that sleep just doesn't touch. It's a bone-deep weariness.
The second one I find really scary for leaders. It's cynicism or depersonalization.
It's so dangerous. It's when you start to feel this deep detachment from your work, from your colleagues. Everything just feels like meaningless bureaucracy, even if you used to love it.
You become callous.
You do. And the third dimension is probably the cruelest. It's reduced efficacy.
So you feel like you're failing.
Exactly. You feel less competent, less productive, even though you're probably working harder than ever. And that just feeds the whole vicious cycle.
You mentioned that the root of burnout is amplified for leaders. I think most of us just assume it's about workload.
It's so much more than that. It's a mix of things. Yes, there's the excessive workload. But for leaders, it's compounded by a lack of control over things you're responsible for.
Right.
Or a conflict between your own values and what the organization is doing. But two things are especially tough at the top.
Where are they?
First, insufficient reward. And I don't mean money. I mean that sense of being valued, of affirmation. Leaders give it all away and get very little back.
And the second?
A breakdown of community. The higher you go, the more isolated you can become. And isolation is basically the perfect breeding ground for burnout to grow.
Which brings us to these cultural myths that we've all internalized.
Yeah.
These lies that basically sabotage our well-being before we even start.
Yes.
Let's hit the big one first. Myth number one. Self-care is selfish.
This one is the foundation of the whole overachiever culture. It frames any time for yourself as time you're stealing from something more important.
But you have to reframe it. You said it's not selfishness,
It's stewardship.
stewardship. I like that.
I mean, think about it practically. An empty well can't water anything. A depleted leader isn't a hero. They're a liability.
Because your foggy brain makes an expensive mistake.
Exactly. Or your patient snaps in a key meeting. This isn't about getting a massage. It's about keeping the main instrument you in good working order.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. What about myth number two? This one's a bit more spiritual. God will provide, so I don't need to rest.
It's so common in mission-driven work, but it's really a misunderstanding of faith. I mean, the whole principle of the Sabbath is a divine command. It's built into the fabric of creation.
It's an acknowledgement of our limits.
It is. God works through wisdom, through disciplines, Ignoring your body's need for sleep and just hoping for a miracle isn't faith. It's presumption.
That connects directly to myth number 3, doesn't it? The idea that leaders can't show weakness.
The stoic, infallible tiller, it's a toxic image. Because real strength isn't the absence of weakness. It's having the courage to acknowledge your limits and get help. When a leader pretends they have it all together, all the time.
You just create a culture where everyone else has to pretend too.
Precisely. And you cut yourself off from the support you desperately need. A little vulnerability actually builds trust. It doesn't erode it.
And the last myth, the one that I think just runs our entire modern world, busyness is a mark of importance.
Or godliness, even. We measure our value by how packed our calendars are.
Yeah.
And, frantic busyness feels good. It feels like you're being productive. It gives you this hit of validation, like, I'm needed.
But it's a mirage.
It's the enemy of deep strategic thinking. You can't think clearly when you're just running from one fire to the next. We have to remember that our importance is measured by our impact, not our activity level.
Okay, so with those myths out of the way, let's get into the science of this. The biology of why rest is not just a nice idea.
Absolutely. This moves it from feelings to facts. When you're under chronic stress, your body is just flooded with adrenaline and cortisol.
The fight or flight hormones.
Exactly. And that system is brilliant for, escaping a tiger. But when it's activated for weeks and months on end, that hormonal bath starts to do real damage.
What kind of damage are we talking about for a leader's brain?
It's brutal on your executive functions. That sustained cortisol actually impairs your prefrontal cortex.
Which is the part 4.
Planning, problem solving, emotional regulation, high-level decision-making. So when you talk about brain fog, that's literally what's happening. Your brain is under a chemical assault.
So if the stress response is the gas pedal stuck to the floor,
Then the rest response is the brake, the parasympathetic nervous system. Rest and digest.
and you have to intentionally press that brake.
You have to. It's the only way to let your body repair itself, consolidate memories, and restore that mental clarity. Without it, you're just living in a constant low-grade state of emergency.
And the number one form of recovery, the first thing we always sacrifice, is sleep.
It's a catastrophic sacrifice. We wear sleep deprivation like a badge of honor, but we're undermining the very tool we need to succeed.
So deep sleep, non-REM, that's for the body.
Right. Physical repair, hormone regulation, but then REM sleep, that's for the mind.
Okay.
That's where you regulate emotions, consolidate memories, process complex ideas. When you cut sleep short, your attention span shrinks, your creativity plummets, and you become way more irritable. You just can't make wise decisions.
But recovery isn't just about being asleep. The sources talk about active recovery.
Yes, like physical activity. Moving your body isn't just about fitness. It literally helps process and clear out those stress hormones.
In getting outside.
Huge. Exposure to nature is scientifically proven to lower cortisol levels. It's a powerful and simple tool.
I also love that they bring up hobbies and play. Just doing something for fun.
It's so key. Engaging in an activity with no goal, no utilitarian purpose. It just recharges your sense of joy and creativity. Leaders who forget how to play eventually start to break.
Let's make this real with some examples. The sources give us a classic cautionary tale from the Bible, of all places, the prophet Elijah.
It's a perfect case study in burnout. And the most interesting part is when it happens. It's right after his biggest victory.
After the big win on Mount Carmel.
Exactly. It's that adrenaline crash. It gets one death threat and he just collapses. He asks God to take his life. That's a man who is completely spent.
And God's response isn't a lecture.
No, it's not have more faith. It's practical. It's rest, food, and quiet. It shows that even spiritual work has a physical and emotional cost that must be paid.
That story really echoes in the modern example of the executive with the golden handcuffs.
Oh, yeah. The guy who works every weekend never takes a vacation, all for external achievement. And what happens?
Chronic health problems.
Yeah.
Headaches, digestive issues, a heart attack in his 40s.
The lesson is just brutal. No amount of money or power can compensate for internal depletion. The drive to succeed can become a destructive idol.
So those are the cautionary tales. But we also have models of resilience. The sources point to Jesus' rhythm of life.
Right. It was this constant rhythm of engagement and then withdrawal. He was always present with people, but he never seemed rushed.
And he was constantly retreating to solitary places.
He built rest into his schedule. It wasn't an afterthought. It shows that true impact isn't about constant activity. It's about discerning, intentional activity that's fueled by periods of renewal.
That's the other example, the senior pastor with real longevity.
And his secret wasn't some stroke of genius, it was just discipline.
Simple habits.
Simple, non-negotiable habits. A sacred morning routine. A real weekly Sabbath. Consistent physical activity. And this is key effective delegation. He built a sustainable rhythm.
So if rhythm is the key, let's get practical. Let's talk about the Resilient Leader's Toolkit.
I like to think of it as a map with different sources of renewal. You have 6 main areas.
Okay, what are they?
Spiritual disciplines, mentorship, intentional rest or sabbaticals, physical activity and nature, hobbies and play, and finally, healthy boundaries and delegation.
You have to draw from all of them.
You can't just rely on one. But winning the long war really starts with winning the daily battle. So let's focus on 3 micro practices anyone can start.
Let's do it. First up, the morning ritual, the sacred start.
The key here is to prioritize your spiritual and physical core before the digital world gets its hands on you.
No email first thing.
Absolutely not. Dedicate 60 to 90 minutes before any screens. Use it for prayer, meditation, a walk, light exercise, a decent breakfast. You have to set a foundation of calm for your day, not reactivity.
That digital boundary is so hard, but so critical. Okay, what about the midday slump? How do you prevent that crash?
The power pause. This is a deliberate 15 to 30-minute break, and you have to get away from your desk.
Get up and move.
Walk around, step outside, do a mindfulness exercise. The whole point is to interrupt that accumulating stress and clear out the decision fatigue that always hits in the afternoon. It's a small investment with a huge payoff.
And finally, the evening routine, which sets you up for that critical restorative sleep.
You need to create a clear transition from work mode to rest mode. First, the work wind down.
What's that?
Review your day's wins, make a very short list for tomorrow, then physically clear your workspace. That tells your brain the workday is over.
And
Then you create a sleep sanctuary. The last hour or so before bed has to be screen-free. Read a book, talk with your partner, listen to music, anything that calms your mind down for deep sleep.
And tying this all together is the art of setting boundaries, saying no.
Which for leaders is often the hardest skill.
Wow.
But resilient leaders reframe it. Delegation isn't just offloading work.
It's empowering your team.
It's building their capacity, and they learn to say no by filtering requests through their core mission and their actual capacity. A strategic no is an act of high-level stewardship of your time and energy.
It all comes back to that word stewardship. Resilience isn't a luxury. It's not a weakness. It's a skill, a discipline you have to cultivate to steward your mind, body, and spirit. You really have 2 paths in front of you. This road of unsustainable sacrifice that our culture pushes, or this path of wise stewardship. Building resilience is a core part of effective leadership.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. What would your leadership actually look like if you deliberately designed your week around renewal instead of just reacting to crises? What new opportunities, what new clarity might emerge if you were leading from a place of rest instead of a state of chronic exhaustion?